Welcome back everyone. Today we are diving into the financials of a giant in the Indian energy sector, Indian Oil Corporation Limited or IOCL.
That's right. IOCL is a Maharatna public sector undertaking, India's largest commercial enterprise, involved primarily in refining, pipeline transportation, and marketing of petroleum products. They also have growing interests in petrochemicals, gas marketing, alternative energy sources, and exploration and production. It's a massive operation.
Absolutely. And they've just released their integrated filing, which includes the audited standalone and consolidated financial results for the fourth quarter and the full financial year ended March 31, 2025. These were approved by their board on April 30, 2025. So let's jump right in. What are the headline numbers telling us, looking at both standalone and consolidated figures? Let's start with the standalone results for Q4 and the full year.
Okay, starting with the standalone figures. For the fourth quarter of financial year 25, Q4 FY25, revenue from operations came in at 2,17,725.44 crore rupees. Sequentially, that's slightly up from Q3's 2,16,649.47 crore rupees, but slightly down year-over-year compared to Q4 FY24's 2,19,875.55 crore rupees.
Okay, a mixed picture on revenue quarter-over-quarter and year-over-year. What about the bottom line, the profit after tax, or PAT?
Standalone PAT for Q4 FY25 showed a significant jump. It was 7,264.85 crore rupees. That's a strong increase both sequentially from Q3's 2,873.53 crore rupees and year-over-year from Q4 FY24's 4,837.69 crore rupees.
Wow, strong quarterly profit performance then. How does that compare to the full financial year 25 standalone results versus financial year 24?
For the full year FY25, standalone revenue was 8,45,512.61 crore rupees, which is a decrease from FY24's 8,66,345.38 crore rupees. And interestingly, the full year standalone PAT took a sharp hit, coming in at 12,961.57 crore rupees, significantly down from the 39,618.84 crore rupees they reported in FY24.
That's a huge drop in annual profit despite the strong Q4. Definitely something to unpack later, likely related to refining margins. Now let's look at the consolidated picture. How do the Q4 and full year numbers look there?
On a consolidated basis, the trends are quite similar. For Q4 FY25, consolidated revenue was 2,21,360.24 crore rupees, slightly up quarter-over-quarter, but down year-over-year. Consolidated PAT attributable to owners for Q4 was 8,123.64 crore rupees, showing strong growth both sequentially from Q3's 2,115.29 crore rupees and year-over-year from Q4 FY24's 5,148.87 crore rupees.
And the full year consolidated results?
Full year FY25 consolidated revenue was 8,59,362.73 crore rupees, down from FY24's 8,81,235.45 crore rupees. The consolidated PAT attributable to owners for the full year FY25 was 13,597.84 crore rupees. Again, a steep decline from FY24's 41,729.69 crore rupees.
Okay, so the pattern holds. A strong Q4 performance couldn't offset weaker performance earlier in the year, leading to a significant drop in annual profits for FY25 compared to FY24, both standalone and consolidated. What about profit before tax PBT? And do we have EBITDA figures?
The report doesn't explicitly provide an EBITDA figure, unfortunately. However, we can look at profit before tax or PBT as a good indicator of operational performance before tax implications. On a standalone basis, Q4 PBT, after exceptional items, was 8,786.72 crore rupees, a strong sequential and year-over-year increase. But for the full year FY25, standalone PBT dropped significantly to 15,882.34 crore rupees from 52,344.21 crore rupees in FY24.
And the consolidated PBT?
Consolidated PBT for Q4 FY25 stood at 10,044.65 crore rupees, again showing good sequential and year-over-year growth. However, the full year FY25 consolidated PBT fell sharply to 17,063.45 crore rupees, down from 57,287.79 crore rupees in FY24. It's also worth noting that other income contributed meaningfully, nearly 5,000 crore rupees standalone and 3,500 crore rupees consolidated for the full year.
Got it. Let's quickly touch upon earnings per share EPS standalone first.
Standalone basic EPS for Q4 FY25 was 5.28 rupees, up from 2.09 rupees in Q3 and 3.51 rupees in Q4 last year. However, for the full year FY25, standalone EPS was 9.41 rupees, a sharp drop from 28.77 rupees in FY24.
And the consolidated EPS figures?
Consolidated basic EPS followed the same trend. Q4 FY25 EPS was 5.90 rupees, up sequentially and year over year. But the full year FY25 consolidated EPS was 9.87 rupees, significantly lower than the 30.30 rupees reported in FY24.
Were there any significant one-off or exceptional items that influenced these results?
Yes, there was one major exceptional item reported for the full year FY25. The company reversed provisions related to VAT input tax credit under the Gujarat VAT Act, following favorable orders from the Supreme Court and the Gujarat VAT Tribunal. This resulted in an exceptional income of 1,838.02 crore rupees, boosting the PBT for the year. This was consistent across both standalone and consolidated results.
Okay, that explains some of the boost to PBT, but the overall annual profit is still way down. Let's talk profitability margins. How did they look?
The net profit margins clearly reflect the challenging year. For standalone, the Q4 margin was decent at 3.34%, but the full year FY25 margin was only 1.53%. On a consolidated basis, Q4 margin was 3.78%, while the full year margin was just 1.60%.
And why the significant drop in annual margins compared to FY24?
The primary driver mentioned in the notes is the average gross refining margin, or GRM. For FY25, the GRM was only $4.80 per barrel, a drastic reduction from the $12.05 per barrel they achieved in FY24. The core GRM for FY25, after inventory adjustments, was $4.53 per barrel. Lower refining margins directly hit the profitability of their core business.
That makes sense. Now let's dive into the segment performance. IOCL has several segments: petroleum products, petrochemicals, gas, and other business activities. How did the main engine petroleum products perform?
The petroleum products segment, which is the largest, saw standalone revenue in Q4 FY25 at 2,03,732.30 crore rupees, relatively flat sequentially but down year over year. However, its PBT contribution before finance costs etc. in Q4 was strong at 9,533.54 crore rupees, up both QOQ and YOY. But for the full year FY25, this segment's PBT was only 17,960.46 crore rupees, a massive drop from over 55,000 crore rupees in FY24, clearly reflecting those lower GRMs.
How did the petrochemical segment fare? It's often seen as a diversification play.
Petrochemicals continue to face headwinds. Standalone revenue for this segment in Q4 was 7,225.87 crore rupees, up slightly YOY but flat QOQ. Unfortunately, it reported a loss before tax and interest of 205.72 crore rupees in Q4. While this loss narrowed compared to Q4 last year, it widened sequentially. For the full year FY25, the segment's loss increased to 440.29 crore rupees from 344 crore rupees in FY24 despite higher revenues.
Challenging times for petrochemicals. What about the gas segment?
The gas segment showed growth. Standalone Q4 revenue was 11,189.69 crore rupees, up year over year but flat sequentially. Its PBT contribution in Q4 was 33.22 crore rupees, down both QOQ and YOY. However, looking at the full year FY25, the gas segment's revenue grew to 42,341.44 crore rupees, and its PBT contribution more than doubled to 1,426.75 crore rupees compared to FY24.
And lastly, the other business activities segment. What does that include, and how did it do?
This segment includes their E&P activities, explosives, cryogenics, wind power, and solar. Standalone Q4 revenue was 447.23 crore rupees, up YoY, but down QoQ. It reported a loss of 216.82 crore rupees in Q4. For the full year FY25, this segment also reported a loss of 160.36 crore rupees, swinging from a profit in FY24.
Okay, quite a mixed bag across the segments. Briefly, any major callouts from the balance sheet or the cash flow statement?
Looking at the balance sheet, total debt has increased compared to the previous year, both standalone and consolidated. Standalone debt is around 1,34,000 crore rupees and consolidated is around 1,42,500 crore rupees. A key point from the cash flow statement is the significant reduction in net cash flow generated from operating activities in FY25 compared to FY24, roughly halved for both standalone, around 33,000 crore rupees, and consolidated around 35,000 crore rupees. Dividend payments were slightly low in FY25 compared to FY24, around 9,600 crore rupees standalone.
That drop in operating cash flow is notable. Now, a crucial part, the auditor's report. Khandelwal Jain, KG Somani, MKPS and Associates, and Komandur and Company were the joint auditors. Did they raise any red flags or qualifications for the standalone results?
For the standalone financial results, the auditors issued an unmodified opinion. This is positive, meaning they believe the financial statements give a true and fair view in accordance with accounting standards. They did include other matters paragraphs, highlighting their reliance on management certifications for the company's share in E&P joint ventures and technical evaluations, as well as noting reliance on the work of previous auditors for the comparative FY24 figures. They also noted that the Q4 figures are derived, but importantly, no qualifications or adverse opinions were given.
Good to hear. And what about the consolidated financial results? Any issues flagged there?
Similarly, for the consolidated financial results, the auditors also issued an unmodified opinion. Again, this is a key positive. The other matters section here expands on the reliance aspect, noting their dependence on the audit reports or management certified or unaudited information provided by auditors or management of 9 subsidiaries, 2 associates and 19 joint ventures audited components, plus unaudited or management certified information for 2 subsidiaries, 8 joint ventures, and 1 associate based on interim financials. They also mentioned the E&P reliance again and noted that 3 JVs and 1 associate under liquidation/closure are not material. But the key takeaway is the clean, unmodified opinion for the consolidated picture as well.
Yes. Good to hear, right? Clean audit reports for both standalone and consolidated financials provide significant comfort, especially for a company of this scale and complexity. Were there any other critical points highlighted in the notes to the accounts?
Yes, a few important ones to mention. First, the management highlighted the issue with the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, MOPNG, regarding the LPG price buffer. As of March 31, 2025, IOCL had a cumulative net negative buffer of 19,926 crore rupees, and revenue to this extent has not been recognized. This remains an overhang. Second, the ongoing dispute with the Principal Controller of Defense Accounts, PCDA, and the Indian Air Force over deductions totaling nearly 700 crore rupees is still being contested. Third, the case filed by the Retired Officers Welfare Society regarding the pension scheme is ongoing. The Delhi High Court ruled in favor of the petitioners, but IOCL is appealing and has not made any provision for potential liability based on legal opinion. Fourth, the board has recommended a final dividend of 3 rupees per equity share or 30% for FY24-25, subject to shareholder approval. Lastly, the company confirmed there was no deviation or variation in the use of funds raised through listed non-convertible debentures and provided a NIL report for security cover, stating these debentures are unsecured.
Okay, quite a few significant points there, especially the LPG buffer and the ongoing disputes. So putting this all together, the lower GRMs hitting annual profits hard, the mixed segment performance, the clean audit reports, and these notes, what's the overall outlook for IOCL?
It's a mixed outlook. Disclaimer, as always, investors should consult certified financial advisors before making any investment decisions. FY25 was clearly a tougher year than FY24, primarily due to the sharp fall in refining margins, which impacted the core petroleum product segment significantly. Petrochemical losses also persisted. On the brighter side, the gas segment showed good growth, and the company received clean, unmodified audit reports for both standalone and consolidated financials, which is crucial. The final dividend recommendation also offers some return to shareholders. However, key risks remain: the volatility of crude oil prices and refining margins, the ongoing challenge in the petrochemical segment, the unresolved LPG buffer issue with the government, and the pending legal disputes concerning defense supplies and pensions. The significant drop in operating cash flow also needs monitoring.
Alright, so to summarize, IOCL navigated a challenging FY25, with profitability taking a major hit due to lower GRMs, despite a strong Q4 finish. While the core refining business faced pressure, the gas segment grew, but petrochemicals remained weak. The clean audit reports are a definite positive, but investors need to keep a close eye on margin recovery, the resolution of the LPG buffer issue, ongoing legal cases, and cash flow generation.
Precisely. It highlights the cyclical nature of the refining business and the importance of diversification efforts, though those are also facing challenges currently. The focus will likely be on operational efficiency, navigating market volatility, and resolving those outstanding issues.
A very comprehensive analysis. Thanks for breaking that down for us. And thanks to our listeners for tuning in.